It's the time again for some fake Sega power with some Hyperkin. The question remains, is this thing good or is it going to be something you should avoid at all costs? So let's find out. It's time for Sega! If you're going to be looking into the World Wide Web, you're going to be finding maybe some place where you can find the Megadrive HD, or maybe a convention or second-hand marketplace. But is this thing still worth buying? Hyperkin is known of many different devices. I've been reviewing all kinds of portable devices, but I was really intrigued by this product. And is this thing still worth it? Because sometimes you can find them for a lot of money. When you're thinking, is this going to be more like a collectible item, or is it something you should actually fun to pick up for not a lot of money and just enjoy yourself some old school Sega time? Because this thing has the option to play original cartridges, and I think that is pretty cool. 720 output, having the option for 16:9 and 4:3. It comes with a controller and of course a different region switch. That is kind of cool. So this thing came with a lot of cool, let's say, features that we have seen before. But the biggest problem we're having when it comes to clone devices is the overall audio and visual quality. Where Hyperkin in general is a company I've been reviewing for quite a long time now, and I can tell you, in general, I was always quite intrigued by what they were releasing, and it would be fun to see something of a portable Sega Nomad 2.0 from them, because the overall quality of the products are quite nice. So the Hyperkin Retron HD Mega, I think they also made a Super Nintendo version. So we're having the on-off switch over here, no volume control. This thing is completely custom when it comes to the shell, no rip-off from the original Sega, and it also has no option for the Sega CD and other add-ons. At the bottom we're finding the different regions. Very easily you can just switch between them, and by reset you can just reset into the different regions. Having two controller ports, I'm very happy with this because we can use original controllers, the reset button at the front, and that's actually it when it comes to the controls. The output, having the input actually for the 5V for a micro USB, HDMI, we're having an old school, let's say, configuration, so we can actually use it on a CRT if you want to, and then having the very easy to switch aspect ratio if you're going to be using this on a widescreen display. Yeah, this box is a little bit of a mess because even when I bought it some time ago, it was a product that I had second hand, or it was actually used. So it comes with the manual. Let's see if there's anything good in here. And I'm guessing, where's my controller? Where is the freaking controller? See, that's what I mean. Like, where's the controller? I have no idea. However, let's look into the warehouse if we can actually, or the storage somewhere that I can find it. We're having the old school cable. We're having a micro USB. There is no, is there a 5V? Yeah, there is a 5V adapter in here, but we're going to be using an other one. And we're going to be looking into my storage. HDMI is in there. Where is the freaking controller? Jeez. But we have so many of these, let's say, clone devices, but the Mega Retron HD had a lot of potential, but how will it hold up? And holding up, of course, against the Sega Genesis, the original, the first edition. And also we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison in this video with a couple of other examples. What is this thing going on? Is this thing really worth still buying? Or can you just rather buy yourself a Sega Genesis itself and just have fun with that? Another thing is compatibility with many different games, custom games. How will it work and how will this thing fit? Ooh, that is very tight. But let's have some fun with some old school but also custom games. Let's see how will they play, how will it work, and how is the overall experience when it comes to that. So we're going to be using the retro bit version because I just love this controller. Super convenient and very affordable. You also have a wireless version, but let's see how the game itself runs. This is Mortal Kombat 2 Unlimited. I picked this one up from AliExpress. What I love about it, man, this is the game that we needed. If I can go back in time and give me this freaking cartridge, that would be like mind freaking blown. Where you can play with all of the freaking characters. We even have the option to play with Shao Kahn and all the other ones. But audio-wise, if you're going to be listening to the music itself, I must say this maybe sounds slightly different than the original Genesis, but it's getting really close at this point if you're just going to be listening to this soundtrack. Of course he was just blocking my freaking spear. Man, the freaking cheesy computer. You can just hear there are some cool sound effects implemented now. And that's one of those extras with the Mortal Kombat 2 game. Another thing I just wanted to see how it is with the wiggle test. That's going to be really necessary, but So it's really tight when it comes to, let's say, the game cartridge, but the configuration, the way how this fits in, we're going to be finding the right way to disassemble this. Not bad at all. But let's get into the Mortal Kombat, the trilogy version, because this is a very cool one. Okay, so let's see what's going on. Most of the time, okay, I want to say like it's going to be like not skipping, going further from the text on the screen, so that's kind of cool. So where this thing seems to be working just fine with this particular cartridge. This is actually the coolest version, at least when it comes to, let's say, the new generation. For me, like, this is Mortal Kombat 2. I love this Mortal Kombat 2 Ultimate Edition. But yeah, having this trilogy that is of course based on the Mortal Kombat 3 series with the combo system and everything. This is such a very cool, like I say, overall game. And yeah, the Retron is just handling as a pro. No problems there. Yep, no problem there. No weird things going on. So let's move on to some other testing and let's see what we can actually do when it comes to, let's say, the multi-cartridges, flash cards, you name it. Let's see how we can disassemble the cartridge. Let's go with the heck. Let's see how that fits in. Man. Wait. Man, this is really horrible. Oh, there we go. Let's see if it's going to be booting up multi-game cards. That's going to be another fun thing. Does take up a lot of time for actually booting up. Is something that's actually going to be going on. We can see that US NTCC is going to be leaving it there. Of course, later on, maybe it will be fun to check out some other games to see if we can play some Street of Rage, see how that works out. This is going to be the ultimate hack version where we can actually die. So it's absolutely cheesy, but a lot of fun. So when it comes to playing some Street of Rage, oh yeah, we can run with this particular version. We have unlimited health. But where this is not going to be sounding perfect, I think this is getting really close. I think for the part where Retron did an amazing job, or Hyperkin did an amazing job when it comes to the games itself. So I think it's a lot of fun. You can just see that this seems to be working fine. Ha, finally. So that is the part that seems to be working fine. Let's get into the EverDrive. Let's see if you can actually play that. Okay, it seems to be booting up. Already loaded up Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Also, flash cards are compatible with this particular device. So it's kind of interesting to see how, can I say how good and compatible this thing is. So I can really enjoy myself some Sega. It's unfortunate that I'm thinking you need to pay a lot of money. I've been looking around, let's say on the internet, how much people are asking for this particular device. So also visual wise, this thing was quite good. Well, you do hear some weird thing with the audio, but it is very minor when it comes to, let's say, the difference and everything else. But if you're going to be getting into the original game, the Sonic 3 Knuckles combination, also this seems to be working just fine. And I think this is a very interesting, let's say, configuration, because this is something I think there are almost none of the clones have, let's say, the option to play this combination. And guess what? This is actually one of my favorite games to play. So it's absolutely cool. Of course, if you have a clone version that has okay sound, you can play through an EverDrive. It will fix your issue, but still, it's kind of cool to see that we can actually play this without any problem whatsoever. But what is interesting to see that we can actually play some virtual racing on this, because this is a cartridge that has such a lot of problems with almost every single freaking, I say, clone device. But wow. So virtual racing, so far I've been throwing everything at this machine and I have no problems, any complaints there. But let's get into the virtual racing, the game itself, before we're going to be speaking too early. So if I'm going to be playing virtual racing, I'd rather to play that on the Sega 32X, but okay, that's personally me. But so far, so good. Everything seems to be working just fine. So I'm just going to be honest, I am completely flabbergasted that I think I can't remember that I ever tried virtual racing on this, but this is just absolutely cool that we can just play it. So in the end, when you're looking at this freaking device, it plays all kinds of games and I'm really pleased with that. However, if you're going to be playing and looking side by side with other devices, there we're going to be finding the difference. Let's put it that way. So I did make like a side-by-side comparison of all kinds of different solutions, because there are many different solutions when it comes to the Sega Genesis. So in this comparison I didn't really implement a lot of clones, because most of the clones from AliExpress are just really horrible. But a couple of them are really worth checking out. So just doing side-by-side comparison, but also the Analog and the other companies. Unfortunately, Analog is in my opinion the best out there, but is not like say for sale anymore. And if you're finding them on the second-hand market, they're like super expensive, and for just, let's say, casual gaming is not worth it most of the time. Solutions out there. Let's do the side-by-side comparison, visual but audio wise, to give you an idea what can you actually expect when you're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of every single device. So let's make it interesting by doing a side-by-side comparison with a lot of games. In this part we're going to be doing the visual but also the audio quality comparison, and when you're going to be scrolling through the games you can already notice some difference. Unfortunate, my Sega console was set to 16:9, so we do have widescreen shenanigans, but for the visual and audio part it's not going to make any difference. I just wanted to see how the colors and everything is, and already going through a couple of the Sonic games on the systems I noticed some things. How is the quality, and when you're going to be putting them side by side, how bad is for example the Chinese Sega AliExpress machine. So with the Retroscaler HDMI compared with the Retron HD console, you can just see a huge difference when it comes to the colors and everything else. So where the Retron HD console does look quite good, so when it comes to the color palette it's completely different, and the Retroscaler HDMI utilizes the original colors of the Sega system. But in the end, when you're looking at both of the clone consoles, think about the Retron HD console and the China HDMI console. Here you can see side by side that the colors are almost identical to each other. Where we had, let's say, some difference with the original system, it's quite interesting to see. So let's put the analog against the Retroscaler. To make it even more interesting, the Retroscaler HDMI with the original Sega against the analog Sega. We can clearly see with Street of Rage 2 that the analog Sega is so much more colorful and vibrant. It's absolutely amazing to look at, where the Retroscaler looks a little bit dimmed when it comes to the colors. But this is more like a personal preference. What do you like more? So now we're going to be seeing all of the, let's say, pictures side by side. You see a lot of differences. However, so now we have seen the visual part. How about the audio? Because there also we're having a lot of difference when it comes to, like, say, the Retroscaler, the analog, but also the clone systems. Visual-wise, there's a lot to say. I already mentioned that before, but audio-wise, we do see a lot of difference there. And also, there's a lot of difference between the Retroscaler and analog Sega. And it's kind of interesting to see, but of course the analog Sega has just a superior sound when it comes to all of these devices. So when it comes to the Mega Retron HD, I am really surprised at how good it performs nowadays. So I've been reviewing so many different clones. Hyperkin, I can't wait if they're going to be releasing, let's say, a very nice portable device like the Nomad 2.0 with the same or even better overall performance. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Mega Retron HD? Do you think it's worth it? The minor issues of the audio, I think it's forgivable when you're looking at, let's say, the overall quality. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, and it will be great to see you in the next video.